Well, hello. So today we're going to be talking about one of the latest horror films in theaters called Weapons. This is directed by Zach Cregger, and it stars the likes of Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, Benedict Wong, Alden Ehrenreich, Carrie Christopher, and others. So the premise that's set up in the trailer is you have this kind of strange event where a group of children get up in the middle of the night at 2:17 a.m. and just randomly basically Naruto run out of their houses and are never seen again. And all that we have as evidence is some ring cam footage of them leaving the house and disappearing into the darkness. So the premise as presented in the trailers and kind of the visuals in the trailer were really creepy, unsettling, really had my attention peaked. The most recent trailer I saw for this movie even called it a masterclass in suspense. I'm here to report to you that, in my opinion, it's not a masterclass really in anything. It does some things well, but it's not really a masterclass in anything, and it's certainly not a masterclass in suspense. I don't think there was a single point in this movie where I was really in a state of true suspense. I was intrigued, I was curious, but it wasn't really that suspenseful to me. It wasn't really even that scary to me. In fact, it was a lot funnier than I was anticipating, which I give it credit for that. I think it was meaning to be funny and it was genuinely funny. So let's get into some of the specifics of the movie, all right? And this is going to get more and more spoilery as we go on. So if you haven't seen the film and you don't want it spoiled for you, just be cautious going forward. So the movie starts out with the premise basically as presented in the trailer. This group of, I would say, like elementary school children go missing in the middle of the night. It turns out they're all from one class in their elementary school, and they all have the same teacher. Everyone in that class disappears except for one child. Okay. And so this kind of starts to spiral the town into thinking that possibly the teacher is to blame. And then there's a lot of scrutiny put on this one remaining child as well and his family. So the movie is set up as kind of like this mystery that is unfolding, and you're trying to figure out what exactly it is that has gone on to make all these children just up and leave their homes and disappear into the night. So far, so good. Like I said, that's an intriguing premise. The humor kept me going. The curiosity and intrigue of what could possibly be going on kept me going. But like I said, it wasn't suspenseful. It wasn't scary. It was just, I'm interested to see where this is going. And the movie also tells its story in a very, I don't know if I'd call it a very unique way, but a different way to most movies, I would say. It's kind of a non-linear storyline in the sense that we get one person's perspective of a particular set of events, and then we rewind back in time, get another person's perspective of the same events and some kind of differing events surrounding that main conflict. And it goes forward and comes back, I would say, probably 5 or 6 times, following like 5 or 6 different characters. And I think that was a good way to tell the story. Like I said, it kept me curious, it kept me engaged with it. But that way of presenting a story is nothing new. If you've seen the movie Vantage Point, that's like a movie that's completely based on that gimmicky storytelling style of going with one character's perspective, coming back, going with another character. So it's not new, but it was good. I think it worked in this case. My first problem with the movie started to emerge when, in the middle of the movie, after we've already had the setup of the children disappearing, us following these specific characters kind of takes us away from that story. Even though in the end it kind of all ties together and there's reasons we're learning certain things that we're learning, it seemed like we kind of forgot the storyline of the children disappearing at a certain point. So I feel like the main intrigue of the story kind of gets put on a back burner in the middle of the film. And I think that would have been okay had it all served a really satisfying end. And that's where I was hoping it was going. Throughout the movie, I was like, okay, it is building intrigue. It is keeping me engaged. It's making me curious about what this is all leading up to. And I was expecting it to be kind of like a big like aha moment, like an, oh, that makes sense. And throughout this whole thing, I was also keeping the title of the movie in mind, Weapons. That word is used once or twice in the movie, and there's kind of a visual, like a very blatant visual, kind of dreamlike picture of a firearm. And I was trying to figure out where this title was going to come in too. But basically, as the movie is progressing and progressing, I'm anticipating this big reveal, this really satisfying climax. And this is where the movie really let me down. Basically, the explanation for everything that's been going on is just some really unimaginative standard horror movie explanation. I was expecting some kind of crazy reveal that kind of ties all of these characters together, or some kind of grand reveal that this has all been a metaphor for something. But at the end of the day, I feel like it had an explanation that really any generic horror film would have. It was just kind of a standard horror movie, supernatural blood ritual explanation. And I was just kind of like, okay, like that's what we went through this whole movie to reveal. That's pretty uninteresting. That's, like I felt cheated at the end. Like I was like, it did a really good job of bringing me to this point, but then it just fumbled the ball. And I just kind of left the theater like, okay. And that's one of the reasons I kind of delayed my review of this movie. I usually film my reviews the same day I watch whatever film I'm watching, but I kind of let this one sit because I'm just like, there's got to be more to this that I'm not thinking about, that I'm not catching. But literally, as I've been pondering it, I think it just is that simple. I think it's just a supernatural explanation that really has no deeper commentary or value. And that's fine. Not every movie has to have some deep commentary on society or whatever, but it just kind of disappointed me. It just kind of left me like, okay, like I don't really care about this movie anymore. It was engaging to what end, One possible theory, okay, with the title Weapons, as I referenced a minute ago, is that this is some really veiled commentary on how American society weaponizes youth, especially in the context of schools, and how that just leaves communities basically torn apart and in tragedy. It could be a very veiled commentary on that. I don't think it is, but if you really wanted to try and read something into it, it could be that. I don't know. Was it a bad film? No, I was entertained by it. Like I said, it was a lot funnier than I thought it was going to be. It was pretty well acted. Like the actors did fine. There were some edits that were like, ooh, that's kind of cool and a little bit creepy. At the end of the day, is it anything special? In my opinion, no. Is it a masterclass in suspense? I don't think so, certainly. Now, I will say I watched this in a theater that had a few more people than normal in it. It wasn't a full theater by any means, but there was a decent number of people in there. And there was like a row of, I would say, like college age people behind me. And some of the girls were definitely going through some emotions at various points in the movie. They were getting a little freaked out. And I always appreciate when I can have kind of the vicarious experience of other people in the theater, especially when they have such visceral reactions, because I definitely am not somebody who has visceral reactions in movies. I'm pretty much just stoic the whole time, which maybe is a little boring, but it tells me that people were enjoying it. It was having the intended effect on audiences. Just for me, it was kind of a letdown in the end. It just kind of went nowhere. It didn't really resolve in a way that made me make sense of the movie. It was just kind of bland. So I think I would give this movie a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Just kind of a mid movie. It's entertaining, but is it anything special? I don't think so. Thanks for hanging with me for a few minutes, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.